The running backs this morning. Now I want to be talking about some wide receivers. Now, all these guys are going to be players that, in my opinion, are falling down fantasy football rankings. They may not necessarily be falling down my rankings. So I think we are going to have a few players that are clear sells that nobody really wants, but then maybe a few guys that you can go get at a discount if your trade deadline hasn't passed. But regardless, in the overall fantasy football landscape, I mean, at least the perception of these guys is trending negatively for one reason or another. But before we get into them, as I set up this live stream, please let me remind everybody that there's a like button down there that you are more than welcome to hit. You can also subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. If you want to check out any of these player props this weekend, you can find the link in the description in the comment section. When you sign up with promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to 100. And I talked to Underdog. I got this set up for y'all next week. Could not be more proud. We are going to get y'all a free Patrick Mahomes week 13 bet only for people who use promo code FLOCK. That will be essentially, look at that Tyreek Hill line at 93.5 receiving yards. Next week, if you use promo code FLOCK Underdog, you'll have a Patrick Mahomes one sitting there at 0.5 passing yards. So that is exciting. But I think we should be good to go. I think we are pretty much done setting this bad boy up. Let's go through and let's dive into our first wide receiver here, who is a Mr. Wrong button. Did we not load him up? Mr. Gabriel Davis. Okay, so if we are going to be looking at Gabe Davis, we're going in the wrong direction. Okay, we gave you a little sneak peek. We are looking at a wide receiver that this past weekend, this past Thanksgiving, did not do much. You're looking at 4 receptions, 38 receiving yards. You're looking at Isaiah McKenzie having a breakout day. Isaiah McKenzie almost going for 100 yards receiving and the receiving touchdown. You're looking at Stephon Diggs doing his usual thing, getting 15 targets. And I know we're going to have a lot of people worrying about Gabriel Davis. A lot of people going, okay, is he now the wide receiver 3 in Buffalo? Guys, this is just who Gabriel Davis is. We've talked about this coming into the season. We talked about it earlier this year. Gabriel Davis will give you some random massive spike weeks, and then some other weeks you're going to be getting straight up duds. The reason for this is Gabriel Davis is a wide receiver that operates exclusively almost as a deep threat in this Buffalo Bills offense, where you're looking at a whopping 19.7 yards per reception. That doesn't even seem possible. It doesn't even seem possible that you'd be able to get to that mark. You're looking at only 60 targets, however. So when you only have one game with more than 8 targets, one game with 8 or more targets on the entire season, you are naturally going to be a wide receiver that gives a very low floor every single week. But you do have that elite level ceiling. You just need to see that long touchdown reception. Going back to the Pittsburgh Steelers game, we were screaming to sell him high. Only 6 targets, 3 receptions, 171 receiving yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. So please just understand, this is who Gabriel Davis is. I think that maybe he's going to be falling down some fantasy football rankings. In reality, you should know this by now. But going over to our next guy, Michael Pittman, someone that I did not like coming into the season, but at this point, talking to some people who are just fantasy football diehards, it seems like people have completely switched their stance on Michael Pittman, where now, yes, he's gone through the entire season. He has a whopping 92 targets and one touchdown. So yeah, with Michael Pittman, he hasn't given you a phenomenal year so far, but I think in a full PPR format, there actually may be a buy low point on Michael Pittman Jr. We're looking at a stretch of games that he had with Sam Ehlinger at quarterback. Hook 'em horns, but we can all agree that Sam Ehlinger, probably not a quarterback that you're wanting for Michael Pittman Jr. with what we actually got when he did take the start. I think that you are going to get better performances from Michael Pittman Jr. going forward. Yes, this is a horrendous Indianapolis Colts offense. Yes, the touchdown rate's naturally going to be a little bit lower than you were expecting coming into the season, but the man has 92 targets this season. He's being force-fed targets. So in a full PPR format, I kind of like the buy low. Now going over to Diontae Johnson, the difference between Diontae Johnson and Michael Pittman Jr. Diontae is someone I actually like drafting. Michael Pittman Jr. I did not draft at all this year. Is I'm willing to just completely get rid of Diontae. I'm willing to give up all hope. Very similar situation that's been poor between these two players. You look at 86 targets, 0 touchdowns for Diontae Johnson. You're looking at 92 targets, only 1 touchdown for Michael Pittman Jr. However, if you are looking at the yards per target, 2 completely ends of the spectrum. I mean, Michael Pittman Jr. has been somewhat efficient on a yards per target standpoint. I mean, at least if we're comparing him to Diontae Johnson, who's someone I drafted in way too many leagues, and he has been a straight up bum. And a big time difference between Diontae and Michael Pittman Jr. as well is Pittman has no target competition. Yeah, he hasn't been great. The offense hasn't been great, but where else can they go? If they're not giving the ball to Michael Pittman Jr., nobody else is going to get it. Whereas if you're looking at Pittsburgh, Diontae's been horrendous. George Pickens has been phenomenal. I think you get Diontae scaled back more and more and more. We saw that this past 2 weeks with only 5 targets in each game. Now, going over to Terry McLaurin, we've been talking about Terry McLaurin as an overrated player, since the dawn of fantasy football. I mean, I swear back in 2014, before he was drafted, we were just saying, okay, there's this guy in high school right now, Terry McLaurin. Just to let you know, he's going to be overrated in fantasy about 8 years from now. I don't know why. I don't know if it's highlight catches. I don't know if it's a Madden rating, but people go nuts with Terry McLaurin. And McLaurin, he's been okay. I mean, he has 80 targets, 792 receiving yards, and 2 receiving touchdowns. A very similar stat line to someone like Michael Pittman Jr., but people would make you think that one is the biggest bust in the world and the other one's just chugging along just fine. What's really funny is if we go through and look at the fantasy points per game for Michael Pittman Jr. here, we're grabbing this from PFF. So let me go through and show you exactly what you're getting. So we sorted this by points per game. This is going to be a full PPR format. So look at all those names that are ahead of Terry McLaurin. Let's go down, 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 down. There we get Terry McLaurin. You're going to see the 13 mark. Congrats, you stayed healthy all games where a couple of these other guys, had to miss a few contests. You haven't had your bye week yet. So yeah, you're going to be able to rack up total points. But if we're looking at the fantasy points per game, Terry McLaurin has not been a difference-making player. He's being valued as if he has been. I don't understand it. Can someone please let me know what I'm missing? And also, can someone help us get to 100 likes on the live stream? We're 1 like away. Go down there, hit that thumbs up button. But going over to DJ Moore, DJ Moore, come on, let's just throw in the towel. Carolina Panthers offense has been horrendous. The volumes come down as well. You have the 2 games with no Christian McCaffrey. The 2 games right after Matt Rule gets fired where the team rallies a bit. Against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, against the Atlanta Falcons. Since then, 6 targets, 2 receptions, 24 receiving yards. 6 targets, 4 receptions, 29 receiving yards. 5 targets, 3 receptions, 24 receiving yards. Not startable. Don't think Sam Darnold's going to come here and save the day. Maybe if it's a best ball format, you get some random spikes for DJ Moore just because he has the talent. But oh my gosh, you're never going to be able to start the man. Going over to Jerry Jeudy, the guy I thought was the wide receiver 1 in Denver this year. And I will say, Jerry Jeudy was the wide receiver 1 in Denver. If you look at when both players were healthy, Jerry Jeudy was the wide receiver 1 over the most overrated player in the NFL, Cortland Sutton. We don't need to go there, but with Jerry Jeudy, I think that it's time to cut bait. It's time to just get him off your roster. Ruled out for this game against Carolina. Ruled out on Friday. Didn't practice at all this week. Who the hell knows when you get Jerry Jeudy back? And let's assume that Jerry Jeudy comes back 2-3 weeks from now, right? Jerry Jeudy comes back week 15. Well, week 15, we'll be through every single bye week. Week 15, you'll be in the fantasy football playoffs. I'm going to be operating under the assumption that if you are a fantasy football playoff team, there is absolutely no shot that you are starting Jerry Jeudy in the playoffs and winning because of it. I think he's just clogging up a roster spot for you right now. I would rather go through and just drop Jerry Jeudy if you can't put him on your IR and go pick up a rookie wide receiver that, has a very low floor, but he's an ascending talent. Go get someone like Treylon Burks. I think that would be a better use of this roster spot. I know you're not going to be able to trade him for anything. I get it, but I don't think you need anything in return to just get rid of him. I think you can find a better play off the waiver wire. Russell Wilson just been the biggest disappointment ever this season. But going over to another injured name, we have Rondale Moore here. If we are going to be looking at Rondale Moore, a wide receiver that is, about smaller than I am, a wide receiver that has dealt with a long list of injuries in his past, going back to Purdue, and Rondale Moore dealing with a groin injury now, already ruled out against the Chargers. And now I think that we have to be realistic with this situation because we already have DeAndre Hopkins in this offense. I mean, dominating for over 25% of the targets. You have Hollywood Brown coming back as well. So now, best case scenario, and I repeat, best case scenario, Rondale Moore is the wide receiver 3 coming out of the bye in week 13 for the Arizona Cardinals. They have the bye week 13. Coming out of it will be week 14. That's best case scenario, is the wide receiver 3 in this offense. Worst case scenario, the Arizona Cardinals are, fighting with Los Angeles Rams to be dead last in the division. They're playing for pretty much freaking nothing. They look at Rondale Moore and say, hey, man, we have dealt with so many injuries this year. Let's just make sure that you're healthy for 2023. There's no reason to rush you back in. And going back to what you're talking about with Jerry Jeudy, if you're a team getting Rondale Moore back in week 15 and you're in the fantasy football playoffs, we're past everybody's bye, you're not winning a playoff game unless you're in a 14, 16-team league by starting Rondale Moore. I think if you could go drop him for someone like Treylon Burks, another move I'd look to make. Now, going over to Drake London. With London, I just wanted to include him in this video because over the past few live streams, we've had people asking about Drake London with no Kyle Pitts. And yes, Kyle Pitts going on the IR. In theory, this opens up target volume for Drake London in this offense. And y'all know, full transparency, I liked Drake London coming into this season. I love the talent profile coming out of USC. I had him ranked as my #1 rookie wide receiver. I love Drake London. I love drafting Kyle Pitts in the 3rd round as well. It was my biggest miss of the season. Like, I wish we could say, okay, yeah, no, Drake London going to dominate now that we remove Kyle Pitts from this offense. But let's look at what we've had here. Drake London and Kyle Pitts have combined for about 70 receiving yards per game so far this season. So if we assume that Kyle Pitts is removed from this offense and every single reception Kyle Pitts would have had, every single receiving yard, every single receiving touchdown would go from Kyle Pitts to Drake London, that makes Drake London a mid-wide receiver 2. And in reality, is it possible for Kyle Pitts to ever be that? Is it possible for Kyle Pitts to just somehow magically transfer all that production to Drake London? No, that production's going to be removed from the offense. The backup tight end's going to get a little bit. Olamide Zaccheaus going to get a little bit. Drake London may get a lot of it, but even if he gets half of it, it's still not enough production. Like, looking at the underdog player prop here, this is the issue with Drake London. The issue with Drake London so far this season hasn't been Kyle Pitts. This man right here, where the projection is 158.5 passing yards. Oh my gosh, it sucks. I wish I could come out here and act like Kyle Pitts going down is going to help London. I think that we just made a massive mistake to get too excited about the talent, regardless of how bad the situation, how bad the quarterback play, how bad the passing volume actually is. So I apologize if you listen to me and you drafted Drake London this offseason because of me. That is 100% my fault. I wish I could tell you that, oh no, we're going to be right. London's going to break out. No, we have to take her out. We have to move on. Please don't be planning on starting Drake London now that we have no Kyle Pitts. Now, I think that's all we got for y'all in this live stream. I will be live again later tonight going through and answering all fantasy football questions. Of course, if you want to check out any of these player props, you can find the link to Underdog in the live chat, in the description, in the comment section. Promo code FLOCK. They'll match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $200. Available in damn near every state. And we are getting everybody a free Patrick Mahomes bet week 13. More than less than half a passing yard. Could not be more excited about that, but that's only for people who use promo code FLOCK. I'm sorry if you signed up to Underdog a few years ago using a different code. I'm sorry. I wish I could do something for you, but I can't. But thank you again. I appreciate you. We're about 10 likes away from hitting 200 likes in the live stream. So if you could go down there, hit that like button, I truly would appreciate it. I'll see you in the live stream tonight. I hope you had a great Thanksgiving. And if I can't see you tonight, I hope you have a great day.